This episode is brought to you by thedolphinwars.com.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to King Dolphin Television, episode 393, 7 episodes to go till 400. I am Raymond, author of the Dolphin Wars trilogy of books and ruler of the greatest pod on YouTube. I would like to welcome you all to another Wave Making Wednesday, where we interview interesting people and creators. And tonight I have Al Nickerson, a comic book artist and self-published author. And before we get started, I would like to again thank you. And also, if you like what we're doing here, like these interviews, like the chaos of Just Cause, reviews, especially I just posted my very first movie review on Fantastic Four First Steps. Please check that out and comment on it. And so if you like all that we do at King Dolphin TV, please like, subscribe, engage, do a super chat, and like Tim says, pay up so Snorty and Trike won't visit you. Pay in super chats, super stickers, or in the tip link. You'll be glad you did. So if you are so inclined to help out the channel, keep the lights going here, there's the tip line, or you can do a super chat as well. So that will go a big way to helping out the channel. All right, and let me welcome those that are here right now. We have, as one of our guests, we have Swift -1. Welcome, sir. And then we have Sandra, our producer. We have Legatus Legionai. And we have Snorta Pupas, Cuba. Welcome all. And hope you enjoy the show tonight. So, as I said, I have Al Nickerson. And how are you doing tonight, sir? Welcome.
Raymond, thank you for inviting me. I am doing well, thank you.
Good.
Looking forward to the conversation. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I am right now. Something happened to my YouTube that or not my YouTube, but my Outlook, that I had to shut down everything, and it's Gumby has decided to strike. Okay. Let's see. Come on. All right. So, a little background on Mr. Nickerson here. And again, what we do is I'll do some of the background, and then we will start asking you questions that may come off this background. And then I will let the chat. Ask questions. Please, chat. Please feel free to put your questions in anytime you want. So, and without further ado, we will begin. Al Nickerson is a comic book artist, writer, and self-publisher. He's an alumnus of the School of Visual Arts. Has been a professional comic book artist since 1994. He inked Warp Graphics, Elf Quest. Oh, I love the Elf Quest. Blood of 10 Chiefs. Worked in Marvel as an inker on Spider-Man Mysteries, and many years inking for DC Comics on Justice League Adventures, Justice League Unlimited, Hi Puffy Amiyumi, Crypto the Superdog, and Princess Natasha. And at Archie Comics, he inked various comic books, including Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Tales from Riverdale, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Archie and Friends, as long as various Archie comic digest books. As an animator and designer, he's worked for Sesame Street, MTV Animation, Nickelodeon, and Marvel Entertainment. And the co-creator of the award-winning animated short Joey and the Dinosaur, Neighborly Greetings. He is self-published creator, owned comic books, including the Ard Chronicles, 2000 edition, Nihilist Man and His Amazing Friends. And he is currently self-publishing the Sword of Eden graphic novel series. And he was a professor at SUNY. Okay, where's that?
SUNY Orange. It's in the Middletown, New York.
Okay. Where he teaches sequential art and comics illustration, a class on creating comic books and comic strips. Welcome again, Al, and I'm glad you're here. Now, that is quite a diverse resume. So where's the School of Visual Arts?
It's before all of that stuff. Yeah, SVA is where I went to college. So yeah, that was really interesting. Hearing you read all that stuff makes it sound like I've been very busy. Yeah, when I was in high school, well, growing up, I was a huge fan of comics. When I was in high school, I wanted to be an inker. I was really influenced by inkers like Terry Austin and Gene Day. And Terry Austin had a run on X-Men over John Byrne's pencils. And that stuff just blew my mind. So I had noticed whenever I saw comics that were inked by either Gene Day or Terry Austin, they just looked better than anybody else's stuff. So I wanted to be an inker. So yeah, I went to the School of Visual Arts. Actually, well, the longer story, which it's weird, man, because I was in junior high school, and I love comics. I wanted to work in comics, and I had an advisor in high school, and she had an appointment with her. She sat me down, and she's like, "Well, what do you want to do with your life? Where do you want to go to school?" And I'm like, "Well, I want to draw comics, but I don't have any money for college." And she handed me like this stack of catalogs for various colleges. And she's like, "Just apply to these schools, and then we'll worry about financing your tuition." So the only school I actually applied to, well, there was like FIT and Pratt and the New School, but the only one I applied to was the School of Visual Arts. They had an excellent comics program, cartooning program, and animation. It was a great school. But one of the teachers there was Will Eisner. So and I heard about, I wasn't really that familiar with Will's work at the time, but I knew how important he was. So yeah, I ended up going to the School of Visual Arts. Will was one of my teachers, and Gene Colan and Erwin Hasen and Harvey Kurtzman and Sal Amendola, and I had a painting instructor, Bert Hasen. But those guys were great. So it was a lot of fun. So
is that a 4-year program?
It's a 4-year college. I got my bachelor's degree. You can also go for your master's degree. So it's half art and half academics. So yeah, it's accredited. It's a 4-year college. Yeah, like Steve Ditko went there. Jerry Robinson used to teach there. So they've had a long history of really great teachers at SVA. So yeah, I graduated from SVA. I was a graphic designer for a few years, and then yeah, I started working in comics. And I think Warp Graphics was the first publisher I worked for, and that was in 1994.
Yeah, I've loved some. I've loved some of the stuff that came. I loved ElfQuest, and
Yeah, they have a very strong, rabid following of readers. Those that like the ElfQuest books like really love that stuff. So yeah, it was a good start for me. Yeah, so I was very happy doing that at the time.
okay, and then you went to the various comic companies.
Yeah, so I worked on ElfQuest Blood of 10 Chiefs, I think for almost, was it a year and a half, 2 years maybe? And that was, yeah, so that's when the speculator boom happened in the comic book industry. So there was a bubble, a speculator bubble in the comic book industry. It kind of came from the card industry first. And then when the bubble sort of collapsed in on itself, then publishers were canceling books. A lot of guys were, losing work. Retailers started losing money. But I lived at the time I lived in Jersey City, so that was just across the Hudson River from Manhattan. So back then, yeah, Marvel's still in Manhattan, and DC Comics used to be in Manhattan. So you had like Nickelodeon, Sesame Street, and Disney had an animation studio in Manhattan too. So yeah, so a lot of the guys, including me, we were just bouncing around from various different companies. So when Warp Graphics, and they're actually located in Poughkeepsie, New York, when that stuff folded, yeah, I just started working in animation. I started working for MTV Animation. That didn't last too long. That was like 6 months. But then, yeah, I was a designer on the Ace Ventura Pet Detective animated series. And I did, yeah, like within 2 years, I was doing that. And then I was doing animation for Nickelodeon. I was doing some animation for Marvel. And then I started working for Sesame Street. So January of 1999, I was an animator for Sesame Street for 2.5 years. Then I got back into comics again.
Okay. Okay. And then, so you went with Marvel, or after Warp, you went to Marvel, DC, and Archie Comics.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. In between, there's a bunch of other people like Nickelodeon, Sesame Street. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the late 90s. Yeah, I was an animator at Marvel, and then I started inking for Marvel Comics, the publishing end of things.
Right.
I was inking a book called Spider-Man Mysteries. And then Toy Biz bought Marvel, and they just canceled a lot of books. They got rid of their whole children's line of comics, and that included Spider-Man Mysteries. So I only inked like 3 issues. And then I was at the offices one day, and all the executives from Toy Biz were there, and they were just firing editors left and right. And people were just going crazy. So I just came in, dropped off my artwork. I didn't even get past the receptionist. My editor came out. He took the artwork, and then yeah, soon his boss was fired, and then he was fired, and they got rid of all the children's comics. So yeah, eventually, I started work for Sesame Street. I did, I was an animator there for 2.5 years. Yeah, then I went over to DC Comics, and then I worked for DC Comics for 8.5 years. And about a year into that, I was also working for Archie Comics, and I worked for them for 8 years. So for 8.5 years, I was working as an inker for both DC Comics and Archie Comics.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun for the time, I guess.
So
yeah. No, go ahead.
So for those of us who don't really understand the process of comic creating, what does an inker do?
Well, a lot. I don't know how it's not really like this that much nowadays. But yeah, back in the day, yeah, you would have one artist who would pencil a comic book page on original artwork, usually Bristol board, and then an inker would go over it with ink. So an inker's job was really tightening up the artwork, adding all the hatching and cross hatching, all the line weight and all that sort of stuff, and really giving it that comic book feel. And it was easier to print original artwork that was inked as opposed to printing from penciled pages. So yeah, but there were times when I would have a penciler and the pencils were really tight, and that was great. But there were times when I would get pages and they were just terrible. The pencils were just awful. And there was one artist, yeah, I would have to erase all his pencil work and just redraw everything. So yeah, it would vary between the different kind of pencilers I would have over the years.
Of course, I heard rumors that in the once Jack Kirby and Joe Sinnott, that Sinnott was a big, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, Sinnott was a big part in tightening up Kirby's work.
He was. Joe Sinnott had a great inking. I think he actually preferred Joe Sinnott. I don't think he actually I think he preferred loose penciled work. But Kirby was just cranking out those pages like crazy. So yeah, some pages he would just do layouts for. He would design covers. Yeah, he and Joe Sinnott were a great team. Joe's fantastic inker. You know, and that's just part of the greatness of Jack Kirby. I mean, we're not even talking about all the characters that Kirby created over the years in the 1960s. So we owe a lot to Jack Kirby.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I did like the homage that they did for Jack Kirby and Fantastic Four First Steps, making the Earth, numbering the Earth on his birthday.
Yeah, I didn't see the movie.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean numbering after his birthday?
Well, Marvel was doing the thing about Marvel does the thing about different Earths. They numbered like the main Marvel Earth right now is 616. And the one in the movie was Earth 818, which happens to be Jack Kirby's birth month and birthday.
Oh, interesting. Well, that was nice. That was nice of them.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So, I'm going to right now share some of we'll start sharing some of the pictures, and you can let me know or tell us a little bit about it. I'll do it in spurts. That way I don't, not yet, comic. Well, okay. You've already asked.
Really? That's your question?
We get that question every interview.
Well, first of all, I want to say that Comic Relief Crusader is his YouTube channel is one of my favorite YouTube channels, specifically talking about pop culture and comics and movies and stuff. So you guys should check out the Comic Relief Crusader channel.
Yep.
My favorite cookie, well, yeah, chocolate chip. Chocolate chip is always good. Yes, that would be my favorite.
Okay. All right. That Snort was going to ask the same question. Well, see, it happens.
I guess so.
This is how things go off the rail here.
And we just started.
Yeah, and we just started. Okay, so let's. Hopefully, Gumby will cooperate.
Gumby is the name of your computer?
No, well, if you were anybody in the military, will always hear the phrase Semper Gumby, and that's always flexible because things happen. So I take it to mean that something will happen, and I usually have to try and resolve it. So that's why. All right, so hello, Comic Relief Crusader. We've already gotten that out of the way. And hello, Wendy Trauma Warrior. Okay, I've done that. So let's see if it will let me screen. There it goes. All right. There we go. The Sword of Eden, Volume 1.
All right. Yeah, I guess this is a good place to start. So the Sort of Eating graphic novel, it's going to be back in comic book stores this September. So my new distributor is Filbo Distribution. So I think it's filbodistribution.com. So they have solicited the Sort of Eden Volume 1. I think it's in both their July and August catalogs on their website. So if you are a retailer and you want to order the book, Filbo Distribution is the place to go. If you like to support your local comic book store, yeah, go to your local comic book store and ask for the Sort of Eden Volume 1 graphic novel. Yes, since Diamond, went bankrupt, and a lot of these publishers are looking at new distributors to get their books into comic book stores. So yeah, Filbo Distribution, they've been great. I'm very happy that they're distributing Volume 1, and it's going to be in comic book stores again.
Okay. All right, and we already got questions. I see you've done a lot of work on stuff for the younger audience: Archie, Sesame Street, Nickelodeon, DC Young titles. If you would pick a mainstream comic series from DC and Marvel, which would you pick?
Well, I work for both DC and Marvel. What would I pick today? Is that the question?
I guess.
Well, all right. Yeah. So, I work for DC and Marvel, and I think my time at DC, in regards to work made for hire, I think DC Comics treated me the best. I really can't imagine ever working for any of these publishers ever again. I do believe that God has blessed my career working in comics, working for all these different companies, and it was great for the time. I'm very appreciative. God has certainly blessed me. But yeah, I can't imagine working for those companies again. Although, if and I also like self-publishing. So if, I really enjoy doing that. In the early 2000s, Marvel wanted to publish a comic book series based on one of my characters in the Sword of Eden. There's a character by the name of Nemeshman. So yeah, in the early 2000s, Marvel was bringing back their Epic line of books where they would publish creator-owned books, kind of like what Image does nowadays. And yeah, they sent me the copy of the contract. It seemed really fair. I was really excited with the idea of Marvel publishing my creator-owned comic book based on Nemeshman. But then, yeah, somebody, they decided they didn't want to create, or they didn't want to publish creator-owned work. So my editor at Marvel, very nice gal. She was also the assistant editor on all the X-Men books. Stephanie Moore, very nice gal. So when she found out that Marvel wasn't going to publish creator-owned work, she had asked me, she called me, she asked me if I was interested in creating a character like Nemeshman, but Marvel would own it. And I was like, yeah, I can't do that. There's no way I can do that. But, yeah, I can't work for these companies ever again. Self-publishing, work on creator-owned work really seems to be where I want to go, where I've been for years now. And even when I was working for like Marvel and DC and Archie, like I was still working on creator-owned work. I had self-published a couple of comics. I had done some web comics with some of my buddies, and that was all creator-owned work. I had some of my creator-owned characters in other books published by other companies, stuff that I owned. So yeah, even through my career working for Marvel and DC and Archie, I was working on creator-owned content. But yeah, I did it. I can't go back working for these companies ever again.
Okay. Actually, Legatus clarified. Okay, so he's talking about more the mainstream. Which series character would you have liked to ink or do? AKA, for example, ink Batman, ink New Gods, ink Fantastic Four.
I think, as an inker, I guess maybe it's a little bit harder to explain this. When I was an inker, it had more to do with the penciler I was working with as opposed to what book I was working on. If I had gotten the chance to ink over John Byrne's work, I would have been in heaven. That would have been, because I was a huge John Byrne fan, that would have been a lot of fun. And actually in this little graphic here, you got some Daredevil stuff that I inked. But That was some sample work I had sent them. But yeah, Daredevil would have been kind of cool. I really like Daredevil's Frank Miller's run on Daredevil. That would have been a lot of fun. I was a huge X-Men fan growing up, so that would have been kind of neat.
Yeah.
So yeah, stuff like that.
Okay. Comic Relief says, what was the favorite page you ever inked?
I think when I was working at Archie Comics, I always wanted, and I was pestering my editors at the time, to ink over Fernando Ruiz's work, which you can see a little bit. Fernando's, yeah, some of Fernando's work is in this image here. All the way up in the right-hand corner, there's a page from a Jughead story Fernando had penciled that I had inked. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Fernando was my favorite penciler to ever ink. His artwork was always gorgeous. Yeah, and there's some ElfQuest stuff in the upper left-hand corner, some DC Adventures or DC Unlimited right there with Batman. Some Princess Natasha over at the bottom right. And yeah, so yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, inking Fernando stuff was always great. I loved working with him. That was fantastic. But I've sold a lot of my artwork lately, so I only have a little bit of my work made for hire original artwork left. I've sold a lot of it the last couple of months, so that's been wonderful.
Okay.
How did you come up with Nemish? Oh, wait, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, Snort says, I guess self-publishing makes it easier to do certain themes like biblical ones.
Exactly. Well, there's a lot, Snortopoopas, there's a lot to be said about self-publishing your own work. One thing is I don't have an editor telling me how to write and draw my stuff, which is always fun. And also, like, I'm a bit of a control freak, and I love the business side of comics. I love, self-publishing. So yeah, I mean, writing and drawing and creating my own characters and self-publishing and mailing my books to comic book stores and mailing my books directly to readers. That I love that. I think that's fantastic. And also when you're self-publishing, like, your publisher is not taking 90% of all the profits. So it just makes sense to me to self-publish. But the weird thing is that, and I say this a lot, is a lot of young artists, they're not very interested in the business side of art. So, because a lot of young artists, they just want to write and draw and paint. They're not really all that interested in things like contracts and distributors and, the business side of things. But I love that stuff. I love all of it. So, yeah, self-publishing for me is a whole lot of fun.
Yeah. Especially if you are, because self-publishing, you're your own marketer, you're your own advertiser, and you're your own salesperson.
Exactly. And you have to really enjoy stuff like that. Yeah. I did a video recently and just to promote the Sword of Eden Shinobi graphic novel. So yeah, there's a link there. That's my online store, theswordofeden.com, where people can order copies of the Sword of Eden graphic novels.
Okay, and then Comic Relief asks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, see, that, all right, that's kind of a long story. I guess I kind of came up with Nemish Man when I was, yeah, that's the guy right in the middle where your cursor's on top of. Yeah, so that is Nemish Man. So, yeah, I think I was like in middle school, I started creating that character. But the weird thing is that when I went to college and I was in Will Eisner's class, so every year, the students in Will Eisner's class would publish a comic magazine, and it was called Will Eisner's Gallery. And Will would help out with the cover. So Will would always draw the Spirit, his character, the Spirit, on the cover. And it was a great place to get our work in a printed book while we were still in college. And the first time Nemish Man was ever in print was in an issue of Will Eisner's Gallery. I think that was 1987, maybe. Yeah, so that was the first time Nemish Man ever appeared in print. So I was always very fond of the character, and then when I wanted to do, and he's appeared in a lot of different books before the Sword of Eden. He's been also in web comics. But yeah, first time he was in print was in Will Eisner's Gallery. So when I was coming up with this idea to do a more Christian themed graphic novel series, yeah, he just had to be in it. So yeah, I love that character. He's a great guy.
Okay. All right, and this one here. Okay, so there. So tell us about the cover to the left.
Right.
Who's
so
the
that's
gal?
well, that's Rebecca Stern. So that is the cover to the Sword of Eden Volume 1, which I was just mentioning. It's being distributed by Philbo Distribution. So the gal there, this is her first appearance. So that is Rebecca Stern. She's a 16-year-old Jewish girl who has been given like superhero powers. So she's kind of strong. She's kind of fast. She has a sense of where evil is. So she believes that she's doing God's will by fighting and defeating evil things, monsters and demons and that sort of stuff. And she thinks, that's her purpose. So when I started the Sword of Eden graphic novel series, yeah, she's really initially the main focus of the series. In the first issue, that's her first appearance.
Oh, okay.
And it starts off like her first day as a superhero.
Oh, okay.
And she unites with these other superhero characters like Nemish Man and a character by the name of Professor Jack, who is based on Jack Kirby. So if Jack Kirby was a superhero, that would be Professor Jack. And they search for the Sword of Eden and the sword that the angels use to keep man out of the Garden of Eden. So they want to find that sword because they believe it's a very powerful weapon. And there's these demons that want to prevent the superheroes from finding the sword because that would show more proof that God does exist. So that's how the Sword of Eden Volume 1 starts off. Okay.
Now, on the middle one where we see Nemish Man, who's the character? I know I've seen him before. I wish I could remember his name. The lower right.
Right. So that's actually a print. Well, no, was it a print? No, it wasn't a print. That is the inside back cover to the Sword of Eden Volume 2. So that's just one drawing. It was initially a birthday present. I drew a blank cover for a friend of mine. And it was a blank cover comic of the Max meets Batman.
Okay, that's the Max.
Right. So I thought it'd be kind of funny just to, draw the Max on this blank cover for my friend's birthday present. Oh, and then I put, there's a character up there to Batmite. So that was a lot of fun. And then the image, that third image, that's my new print where Nemish Man is punching some sort of green-skinned, pointy-eared alien.
The Super Skrull.
Oh, is that who that is? Looks very familiar.
That's the Super Skrull.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. So I do, so I sell my books directly to readers, and I sell my books directly to Christian bookstores, comic book stores, and mainstream bookstores. So one of the stores that supported the Sword of Eden was Fat Moose Comics. They're in New Jersey. So to also thank them, I had mailed them some signed comic books as well for free. Nice. So yeah, there's Justice League Unlimited, some Cartoon Network Block Party, Sabrina comics, some ElfQuest. There's that red one, Blood and Chiefs. There's a print. The middle one on the top row, that's a limited edition print for the Sword of Eden. And yeah, all the way on the right there is Volume 1 of the Sword of Eden, Volume 1 graphic novel. So I just like helping out retailers. So retailers that support my book, I'm happy to support them as well.
Okay. Comic Relief says, do you do commissions, and if so, how much?
No. I mean, that sounds awful. And I know there's a lot of guys that like to do commissions. I just don't like doing commissions. Like, I much rather sell my original artwork or sell my own work. But yeah, I just, it's time consuming to do commissions. And also you got to be careful because, I talk to a lot of these other comic book artists and they get the weirdest requests from fans. And it's not stuff that I would be really interested in drawing. To say the least. But yeah, I get asked that a lot, that question about commissions. I just don't do commissions. I did do some work last summer for a local comic book store, but they are very supportive of my work. So they wanted a decal made for their window. So yeah, they had asked me to design that and draw it, and I did. And you know, I do want to support retailers, but yeah, normally I don't do commissions. But yeah, if anyone wants to buy any of my original artwork that I have left, you know, you could always contact me. So yeah, I've been selling a lot of artwork, which is fun. But it might, yeah, you know, it's time consuming to do the commissions as well. So
yeah, okay. And will Professor Jack make a typical amazing comic book return?
Well, I'm not trying to. Well, the short answer is no. Although, actually, well, it's kind of spoiling things. Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but also, you know what, Mike? I've sort of thought about it, and I might do something like that, but that would be mentioned. So I'm working on Volume 3 of the Sword of Eden. So it's the Sword of Eden Cry Vampire, and that I haven't drawn it yet, but there's some mentioning of that at the end of Volume 3 of the Sword of Eden. Okay. But you're gonna have to wait for that. But I thought about it, but yeah, we'll see.
Now, this art here, are you both the drawer, the penciler, and inker on this one?
Yeah, so everything. Yeah, I'm everything. So I write and draw, I pencil, ink, color, letter, everything in the Sword of Eden graphic novel series. Self-publish everything. So yeah, it's all me. Okay. So yeah, so that's the inside front cover of the Sword of Eden Volume 1. So with the Sword of Eden graphic novels, I made sure that the printers would print the inside front cover and the inside back cover in color, which you don't often see that, but especially like in black and white books. But because the character, see, that's the Green Knight from Arthurian literature. So, you know, since it's a black and white book, the Sword of Eden Volume 1, and the Green Knight is in it, I really wanted to show the idea that the character is all green. So yeah, so that's the inside front cover to the Sword of Eden Volume 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The goddess asks, do you think that when Kirby did the New Gods, he based Highfather on himself and Darkseid as Stan Lee, with how their relationships soured?
Well, yeah, well, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee's relationship did sour. I know they did make fun of Stan Lee and Roy Thomas in one of the New Gods books. There was a couple of characters making fun of Stan Lee and Roy Thomas. But I don't know about the Highfather and Darkseid. I don't think so. But I know that, you know, Kirby did take some shots at Stan Lee and Roy Thomas when Jack Kirby left Marvel the second time, and was doing some work for DC Comics. But yeah, that's terrible. The way that Kirby and Ditko and Wally Wood and all these guys were treated by Marvel is just awful.
Yeah. Comic asks, how long does an average page take you to draw and ink?
Well, I think back in the days when I, did work for hire, it was a lot faster. Now that, I'm writing my own stuff and composing the page and laying everything out, it takes a little bit longer. But normally, I guess it would take like maybe a day to pencil a page. But my penciling is really loose because I do a lot of my drawing at the inking stage. So yes, I guess a page to ink would probably be 2 days. But the most time consuming for me is scanning in the artwork and cleaning it up. That takes a lot of time for me. Like, because I would scan in the artwork in Photoshop and clean it up in Photoshop. But yeah, that takes me a lot of time. But inking my work is the most fun I have in making comics. I still do my artwork more traditional when I draw. So I'm drawing on paper and an ink and paper, but I do all my coloring and all my lettering in Photoshop. So it's kind of traditional and then somewhat digital as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but inking, yeah, I still use a brush and a nib when I do inking. So even like this piece here, yeah, all that black line weight, and yeah, that's all done with a nib and a brush.
Okay.
Yeah, so usually it'll probably take me like 2 days to ink a page, and then maybe a day to pencil it first.
Okay. Let's see. Hello, FKHC 2005. How you doing, Tim? Hi, Father. Was that Bob Marley's nickname? Let's see. With Archie Comics, I have seen edited images to make it more adult, aka remove bikinis, create nudity. What do you think of others editing the images, be it ones you did or others? I didn't think Archie did that.
Well, it sounds like what he's saying, that he's seen artwork that was edited by other people.
Mm-hmm.
Not the editing, not done by Archie artists, but other people.
Yeah, because
fans maybe.
Yeah, because
well, it's weird because I was also selling a lot of my comp copies from Archie Comics, and it seemed like, and apparently, you know, I was talking to a retailer about this recently because he bought some of my Sabrina comics.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the Sabrina comics that, you know, I would sign in and sell them, some of them that I was selling on eBay, the more expensive ones were covers where Sabrina was either in a bikini or a mini skirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess there's that's what some fans like.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those books are a little bit more valuable.
Okay.
But as far as editing the artwork, like if you're talking about fans doing that, yeah, I really don't like that. No.
Okay. And Comic asks, perfected inking tools and ink. I'm not sure what he's asking here.
Well, I think I talked to Mike about this once before. So I still ink with a Winsor Newton Series 7 sable brush. I started using that brush like when I was in college. Like it was the brush that Will Eisner would use. And if you buy a Winsor Newton Series 7 sable brush,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you treat it well and you take good care of it and clean it every once in a while, yeah, that brush will last for years. And and my pen, I still use a Hunt 102 nib for my pen. So yeah, so the Winsor Newton Series 7 sable brush I ink with, as well as a Hunt 102 nib, which is crow quill, which you would dip in a bottle of ink. So yeah, those are my favorite tools, and they're the tools that Will Eisner wanted us to use in class. And yeah, I still use those, and they haven't let me down. Even when I was doing stuff at Archie and DC and Marvel, yeah, those were the tools I was using to ink with.
Okay. So in this picture here, who's the guy holding Jessica?
That is Gloomtooth. He is a demon.
Okay.
So when I was coming up with the names of some of these characters, that was a little bit inspired by C.S. Lewis. He was an author.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a Christian. He taught at Cambridge, and he also taught at did he teach at Oxford? I can't remember. But yeah, he was a very famous theologian, wrote a lot of books on Christian theology. And he wrote several works of fiction, like the Narnia books, more like sword and sorcery kind of stuff. But he wrote one book called The Screwtape Letters. And it was a conversation between these two demons. And the characters in the book, the demons, they were named Screwtape, and the other one was Wormwood. And they're kind of funny names. So when I was trying to think of a name for this character, Gloomtooth, I think I was thinking along those kind of lines. So yes, that is Gloomtooth. He's got a Band-Aid on his nose because earlier in the graphic novel, Rebecca Stern punches him. So Gloomtooth the demon is holding him, and the other demon is Asmodeus, who's kind of the main bad guy in the first part of the Sword of Eden graphic novel.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of brush work on that page.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all that lettering, all the gray tones, that's all Photoshop. So that is the Comic Relief Crusaders' favorite comic book character. That is Dareduck. That is from the Sword of Eden Shinobi, which is volume 2 of the Sword of Eden. So towards the end of the Sword of Eden Shinobi graphic novel, we are introduced to this character, Dareduk, who is in 4 or 5 pages at the end of volume 2.
Okay.
So that is the first time we ever see Dareduk. Which is a bit of an homage to the original Daredevil from late 1930s, early 1940s. So we'll see more of him in volume 3 as well that I'm working on now. So that was a fun page. Actually, you know, I don't like a lot of my artwork, but yeah, that page I like.
All right. Tim says, I'm going to Oxford next spring and will visit his grave along with some guy named J.R.R. Tolkien. Are
they buried in the same cemetery? I don't know if they are. But I don't know if that's what you're saying. Yeah, that sounds like great fun. C.S. Lewis, I was a huge fan of his work. In the 1990s, I read all of his books. It was like really great stuff. And he lived in the Kilns. There's actually a great documentary on C.S. Lewis. It's called Beyond Narnia. And it's narrated by an actor who's supposed to be C.S. Lewis. And it looks a lot like C.S. Lewis. And all of his dialogue in this documentary is taken from 2 of C.S. Lewis's autobiographies. So yeah, if you ever get a chance to pick up the DVD or stream it somewhere, if you can, and if you are a fan of C.S. Lewis, I would check out Beyond Narnia. It's wonderful, and it's actually filmed at the Kilns where C.S. Lewis used to live. So it's great stuff. So yeah, this is a picture from the comic book shop, a local comic book shop, Haven for Heroes, which, as I mentioned, is very supportive of independent comic book creators, and they have copies of the Sword of Eden and the Sword of Eden Shinobi graphic novels. So that is a picture from their store.
Okay.
So that was very nice of them.
Snorter Poopa says, I read the Screw Tape Letters when I was a wee cub.
Oh, really? So what'd you think of Screw Tape Letters? Let us know. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I read that when I was in the 1990s. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Oh, really? Appions too?
Okay. How did the character of Rebecca come about?
You know what? It's weird, man. I wasn't specifically thinking of having a young female character. It just sort of made sense at the time. And I knew she was going to be a Jewish teenager. So I thought Rebecca Stern sounds like a cool name. And yeah, that's kind of where that came about. But yeah, she thinks she's doing God's will by just fighting evil. And she's not a mutant or metahuman in the sense that, you know, you normally would think. But yeah, she's kind of strong and kind of fast because that's how God gifted her. Yeah, she wants to do God's will and fight evil. Actually, I think even before the first Sword of Eden graphic novel was published, when I was first working on the book, some of my artwork appeared in an episode of Law and Order: Criminal Intent. In that episode, there's some artwork of Rebecca Stern in the background of a studio that's supposed to be an animation studio. So yeah, I think that's the first time anybody could get a look at her.
Are there any pictures of her unmasked, or is she only masked?
Only in one panel. Only in one panel, like she is unmasked. It's the first time we see the character in volume 1. I like to focus more on the superhero aspect of the characters. I'm not that concerned about their personal lives. You know, we learned a little bit about Rebecca Stern's family, her parents, a little bit, and when we were introduced to the character. But the only time we ever see her without her mask is in the first issue. Like I think just on one panel where she's starting her career as a superhero and she's just putting the mask on. So that's the only time we see her face without the mask.
Okay. Tim says, no, but they're near each other.
Oh, are they? Okay.
And C.S. Lewis died on November 22nd, 1963.
Exactly. Who else died on that day?
That was JFK's.
Yep. JFK died the same day. Yep.
Yep. His assassination. I have seen where, in order to show difference on how one speaks using a different font, but from that cloud, you use reverse color, black cloud, white letters. Was that a deliberate demon talk?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how Asmodeus talks in the Sword of Eden Volume 1. So it's black word balloons with white text on it, just to show that, he doesn't speak very nicely, I guess, just to show it's him talking, that it's probably not nice sounding. But yeah, see, that's the thing with comics and graphic novels, is that we don't have the option of sound like other media, like, film or music.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to convey dialogue and sound with using text. And one way to help in that matter is to, do stuff like that. Use a different font when different characters are talking. If you are using letters that are larger, they're a larger point size, that indicates that a character is yelling. If you use a smaller point size with small lettering in a word balloon, it'll indicate that a character is whispering or talking more softly. So there are things you can do to get the idea across to your reader when they're reading the comic, how loud a character is speaking or not loud, or yelling, or talking in a gravelly voice. Or even, I have a character, Count Orlok, in Volume 1, the vampire from the Nosferatu film, and he's got a very heavy Romanian accent. So when he's speaking his dialogue, the words have that accent in the dialogue.
Okay. Both in Oxford, not in the same cemetery. And Snortapoopa says, I enjoyed the letters. It was a somewhat funny way to write about a serious subject.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like these two demons, getting their opinions. Like I think one's an uncle and one's a nephew, and they're just talking about this one person who's supposed to be C.S. Lewis, trying to, make him not be a Christian. But yeah, it's a little humorous. But yeah, the idea of being saved or not saved, it is a serious issue. So yeah, that's a photo. Well, two different photos of two stores that were selling the Sword of Eden graphic novel as well.
Okay, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Well, yeah. I mean, see, you have to do that, and that comes across with having interest in the business side of things. So yeah, selling directly to your readers and selling directly to bookstores, Christian bookstores, and comic book stores is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And also, when I sell my books directly to stores, they make more money. They make more money. I make more money, because in those particular cases, there's no distributor. It's just me mailing the books directly to the store.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Comic Relief loves the Screw Tape letters.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's been decades since I read it. So let's see. So those are the covers to the Sword of Eden Shinobi, which is Volume 2. So the standard cover is the one on the left. The cover on the right is a variant cover, and I only had 100 of those made. So once those sell out, that's it. So I only have a few of those left. But yeah, the Sword of Eden Shinobi. Actually, I had some help with the Shinobi part lettering there. That was designed by the Comic Relief Crusader. Yeah. This is kind of I love Mike. Mike is great. So I had originally done my own version of that graphic, the Shinobi part. And Mike reached out to me. He sent me, I think it was a Facebook message, and it's like, hey, I have this great idea, of designing the Shinobi part of your title. I'm like, don't send it to me. I'm not interested. I can't work with anyone ever again. Please don't bother me. So he designed it and he sent it to me, and it looked great. It looked better than what I did. So I'm like, fine. I'll thank you so much. I'm happy to use it. So yeah, on the first page of the book, yeah, I give Mike some credit for designing that part of the cover of the title, Shinobi. It's gorgeous, and Mike did a great job designing that, and I am very thankful. Normally, yeah, I can't work with anyone else, but that worked out great, and thanks, Mike. You've been very helpful.
Oh God, here we go. Demonetized. Yeah. You never know what YouTube anymore. This is an interview, YouTube. Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. So that is mostly one panel from an issue of Justice League Unlimited that I had inked.
Okay.
So yeah, Batman and the Elongated Man, and I think Martian Manhunter's in that story as well.
Okay. And FKHC says, yes, that's a good cover.
Thank you. That was a limited edition. I self-publishing the Sword of Eden graphic novels. I think I had 7 prints made. They were limited edition prints, so I would have 100 made, and I would sign and number them. So whenever readers would purchase the book directly from me, I would include a limited edition print. So yeah, I'm all out of all of them except for my new print. So I only have my new print left. But yeah, I would just print 100 copies, sign and number them, include them with any sales that that readers would buy the books from me directly. So yeah, it's Nemish Man fighting some zombies.
Okay. How many issues would you like to take the Sword of Eden?
I think I have, well, as many as possible. So volumes 1 and 2 are printed and available for sale. I'm working on volume 3. I know what volume 4 and volume 5 will be. But yeah, if I can keep kicking, I have no intention of not doing the Sword of Eden graphic novel series. It's a lot more fun doing your own stuff, being your own business person, writing and drawing your own characters. So yeah, I have no intention of stopping. So at least 3 more. But yeah, I like to keep going as long as I can.
Okay. I think that's all of them. No, there's more.
Yeah, so that actually is, so that's in the Sword of Eden graphic novels, I have a gallery section at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one of the splash pages in the gallery section, but it's in black and white since the book is printed in black and white. So yeah, that's the original color version.
Okay.
So got a bunch of demons there. So.
Yep, I see a trick ant. I see the demon.
Is that who that is?
Yes. Blue Devil.
I don't know who that is, but yeah, yeah. So yeah, I do all my coloring in Photoshop as well. So yeah, that was fun.
I think I work with that guy, the red guy.
Oh, the red guy. Yeah, he's in the second story of the Sword of Eden graphic novel, where our heroes go to Hades and they fight a bunch of demons. Yeah, and that is a splash page from the Sword of Eden Volume 1, where Nemish Man drops a big pile of rocks on top of the villains, and the villains in the foreground there are the Green Knight and a demon named Lilith. So they're the main villains in the second arc of the Sword of Eden Volume 1. I'm sorry, the Return of the Green Knight story. So yeah, I always liked the Green Knight. I always wanted to find out whatever happened to him. So yeah, so I told that story.
Okay. Comic Relief says the 2 books are a fun read. Will future issues be named the Shield of Eden, the Helmet of Eden, the Mace of Eden, etc.?
No, they're all going to be like the Sword of Eden something. So Volume 2 is the Sword of Eden Shinobi. So Shinobi is just the one of the names for ninja. So it was probably the earliest name for ninja. So in the Sword of Eden Shinobi, our characters go to Japan to fight a bunch of ninja. Volume 3 is the Sword of Eden Cry Vampire, which sees the return of Count Orlok, who was the vampire our heroes fought in Volume 1, and also the vampire from the Nosferatu film, the original Nosferatu film. So yeah, all the books are going to be called the Sword of Eden something. So Volume 4 will be the Sword of Eden Beast, and right now the plan is for Volume 5 to be the Sword of Eden Dareduck.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's the plan for the first 5 issues, first 5 trade paperbacks. So there you go. Well, yeah. So Raymond, you know who that is. So that is Professor Jack, and he's telling the origin of a character named Ninja Spider, who is a character. Actually, he's in both volumes, Volume 1 and Volume 2, and in Volume 3. Yeah. So there you learn the origin of Ninja Spider. He started out as a ninja, and there's this old myth, Japanese myth. Again, it's just a myth that, when spiders get very, very old, in this case, this spider ends up being like 300 years old. They get certain powers or abilities, and this spider here grants his spider powers to this ninja, who becomes Ninja Spider.
Okay.
Kumamusha is the name of the spider.
Kumamusha. Okay.
Yep. So, and there's more of those about those characters in Volume 2, Sword of Eden Shinobi, where our heroes fight a bunch of ninja.
Okay.
Oh, that's my new print. So that is the latest print that I have available for the Sword of Eden graphic novel. So anyone who purchases the Sword of Eden graphic novel from me will get one of these signed and numbered prints while supplies last. Yeah, and these are the only prints I have left. So yeah, they're a lot of fun to do. And I appreciate when I sell books to readers, and I want them to get their money's worth. So yeah, I like to put extra goodies into packages I send out.
You dirty stinking squirrel, huh?
Oh, wow.
And there's where the magic happens.
Well, that was when I was teaching at SUNY Orange. So when I was teaching at SUNY Orange, I taught for 10 years. I taught a class called Sequential Art Comics Illustration, based on Will Eisner's class at the School of Visual Arts, which was named Sequential Art. So there was a documentary done, and I was interviewed for this documentary, and they filmed one of my classes. And this is where, I'm showing some of my students some original artwork. I can't remember exactly what we were discussing, but yeah, so it was a nice little documentary, and I just took a screenshot from that. And some of my work made for hire original artwork. Oh, some creator-owned stuff too. Yes, an Archie comic, some print there. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, so sometimes readers will send me photos of the books they purchased from me. So that is one reader. They got a copy of the Sword of Eden Volume 1. Some of the freebies I included in the package, a couple of prints that I no longer have available, and some other stuff. Also, like, Raymond, when I was doing work made for hire, and I was trying to get work from, where I was trying to get work from Archie Comics or DC or Marvel, like I always had copies of my artwork. So I have a filing cabinet still of copies of my artwork that I've done for other publishers. So so those I will include in any sales of my book. So I'll sign those, and I'll include those in the packages as well.
When is the Shield of Eden cinematic universe going to be made?
The Shield of Eden. I don't know. I got to get a new agent, maybe. We'll see. So, that's funny. I was talking to a couple of different Christian networks about doing an animated series, both at the same time. It was funny. And they were both very interested. But when they started crunching the numbers, they were like, yeah, this is too expensive. We can't develop an animation series for anybody. It's too cost consuming.
And FKHC 2005 with a $2 super chat says, enjoy, Raymond. Thank you very much, FKHC. Thank you very much. Comic says, what are the challenges you face when self-publishing? I think we can both answer that.
There's a lot, but go ahead, Raymond.
Besides first you got to find the publisher. I go through Kindle. I go through Kindle publishing, but then you've got to do your own marketing, and you got to hoof to various and sundry events, because you're doing comics, so you can easily go to a comic place, but going to a bookstore is a lot more difficult, especially like no way you getting into Books A Million.
Oh no, that was, yeah, forget it. Especially if you're a small press guy or self-publisher. Yeah, that's really difficult. But yeah, I've done signings at bookstores, comic book stores, churches, like youth group, and given lectures and stuff. So yeah, but that's where some of my market is, where some of my audience is. So yeah, that's always fun. I enjoy doing that.
Yeah. And
it's weird too, because like two Free Comic Book Day last year at Haven for Heroes. There was a couple of us there. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, I brought like my self-published Sword of Eden books. I brought like Sabrina books, Archie books, DC comic books. I sold artwork and different types of fans. Like, because you were mentioning how you like the ElfQuest stuff. Like I would have ElfQuest fans come up to me and sign books and sell some of my ElfQuest artwork, which I have no more left. I had one person like loved all the Archie stuff, so she grabbed a lot of that. She also bought all the Sword of Eden books too. So yeah, it's a mixed bag, but yeah, I'm always very thankful. And yeah, I really appreciate my readers.
Cool.
Yeah, so yeah, sometimes readers will send me photos of, the books that I send them. Yeah, so that's my bio page from the Sword of Eden Shinobi, so volume 2. I'm holding up a piece of penciled artwork from the graphic novel.
Okay.
Oh, in the background, if you can barely see it, that's some inked work. No, at the bottom, underneath all the text. It's a panel from Justice League Adventures. Some artwork that I inked.
Okay. Talking about cinematic universes, since you did animation, would you rather see your work adapting into an animation or live action?
I suppose animation. I like animation. I think that would be really fun. I was working with, I don't know if I should say, a Christian film company that make Christian films. I was working with them on writing a script, and the idea was for it to be a live action movie based on the Sword of Eden graphic novel.
Oh, okay.
So I wrote a script and stuff, but then working with this guy was just almost impossible. So that did not go well. And and also like in the late 90s, it was like 1999, 2000, me and one of my college buddies, we were developing an animation series for Saban Entertainment, who own and do the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So we were working on that with Saban Entertainment for Fox and the Family Channel.
Okay.
So we did a pitch and proposed several different ideas for a cartoon series for Saban, and they liked one idea. So yeah, we were in development for a year. We wrote several drafts of a script. We put together the proposal for the show and created new characters and stuff. And we had to get a lawyer and to work out the contracts and stuff. So it was a very exciting time. But after that 1 year period, they decided not to greenlight the show. So that's Hollywood for you.
Yep. Okay. And here's your Facebook channel.
Yeah, I have a lot of followers on Facebook, so that makes me happy.
And there's your where you can get the book.
Yep. Yeah, it's also thesortofeden.com. So that's, yeah, my LinkedIn page.
Okay. Huh. He says, free now to drive home. Okay. Okay.
Oh, yeah, there's that a shot of original artwork from an issue of Justice League Adventures. Hawk Girl.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the brush and the nib I use. Winsor Newton Series 7 Sable brush on Hunt 102 nib. Yeah, so yeah, after Sesame Street, I went over to DC Comics, had an interview. The last interview I was ever on. And yeah, they hired me for Justice League Adventures. So yeah, that was when they were still doing. Actually, the lettering is pasted on there. It was printed out and then pasted on the original artwork.
Oh, okay. All right. JL Adventures 5 May Raspler.
Dan Raspler. Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So 5 May. Yeah. So Dan Raspler was the editor at the time. So yeah, I worked for DC Comics for 8.5 years. I had 4 different editors. You know, one was fired, one left to go over to be the editor at Marvel. One was switched to a different department, and then I had a 4th editor at DC.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I had a fun time at DC. You know, they were nicer to me than most people, so I appreciate that. They also paid me the best too. So. And they gave me back my original artwork, so that made me happy as well. Not all publishers do that.
Okay. All right. And there is...
So that's Chuck Clayton. So that was from Archie Comics. So that was from Archie and Friends. So there was 4 issues where Chuck Clayton is teaching students how to draw comic books. So that was penciled by the penciler I was talking about before, Fernando Ruiz. So it was weird because in that panel, Fernando didn't pencil anything in that page of artwork that Chuck Clayton is holding up. So what I did was I drew Superman fighting Thor. So that's who those 2 characters are supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
But so yeah, Archie Comics didn't catch it. So yeah, that's how it was printed. Minus any coloring.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, Thor, like one of the panels, yeah, so Superman punches Thor, Thor doesn't feel it, then Thor smacks Superman with his hammer. Yeah, so that's fun. So yeah, that's a cover I inked for Archie and Friends. I think that may have been the last thing I did for them, or close to the last thing I ever did for them. Yeah, and that was also penciled by Fernando Ruiz. Is
Archie Comics still around?
Yeah, they're still around.
Who owns them, or are they?
Well, they're their own company, but I don't know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, they stopped publishing the more cartoony Dan DiCarlo type stories. So that's when they were just changing everything, making things more adult. But the older stuff they'll reprint over and over again.
Okay. Okay, I think that's...
Yeah, so that's the cover to Spider-Man Mysteries #1. I think the penciler was James Fry and inks by me. So I think that was the first thing I inked for Marvel. Well, on the comic book, Spider-Man Mysteries. It's got that sort of Todd McFarlane spaghetti webbing up there.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, more Archie and Friends. That was part of the cover I had inked. I had all these characters on it. It took me forever to ink that.
Channeling your inner George Perez.
Is it really, you think?
Kinda.
Oh, you mean because all the characters on there?
Yeah, all the characters.
Oh, yeah. Perez, he liked he used a lot of detail in his artwork too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Not just a lot of characters, but just a lot of detail.
Okay. What does an editor have to do with you inking a page? Isn't it first approved by an editor before it gets inked, and what would they do after the page is inked? Good question.
Well, yeah, an editor, yeah, you know, if you're writing and or drawing or penciling or inking for, you know, Marvel or DC or Archie Comics, yeah, your editor is your boss, so you got to do what they say. So, well, yeah, it depends, you know. So back in those days, yeah, once a page is penciled and it's approved by the editor, then, you know, it's either hand lettered and or given to the inker afterwards. So, you know, if they want any fixes, you know, you would have to make the fixes. You know, the only time I think that I ever had to fix a page that I had actually inked already was there was an issue of Spider-Man Mysteries. I think it was issue 3. And I got the cover. I inked the cover. I sent the cover in. And the editor or somebody thought that Spider-Man's eyes were too big, too cartoony looking. So they wanted me to re-ink the head. So they, you know, I lived in Jersey City at the time, so it was just on the other side of the Hudson River. So, you know, I grabbed my army bag, my inking tools, and I went into the Marvel offices, and they had a piece of artwork with the new penciled Spider-Man head on, which they were just going to pop on the page after I inked it. So instead of just going home, I brought all my inking utensils with me to Marvel. So I re-inked that head in the Marvel bullpen, and then handed it in, went back home on my merry way. So that was the only time I ever had to redo any artwork. It was only because after the work was done, then they thought that Spider-Man's eyes were too big, too cartoony looking. So I thought they looked fine, but
yeah,
but that's an editor's job. So, and yeah, so when I was inking for Archie, there was 1 week that I was inking the comic strip. So you know. The dailies and the Sunday strip. So that is that Sunday strip.
Okay.
And in the last panel, I put all these extra goodies on the bulletin board. So on the bulletin board on the last panel, there's like pieces of paper. So I just filled it in with stuff. So I put like the measurements of Noah's Ark in there. I put E equals MC squared, and put a couple other things in the background too on those. So, yeah. Back when comics were fun.
Yeah.
So that actually was a lot of fun. I would have liked to have worked on more of the comic strips, the Archie comic strips. Yeah, and that's a panel from Justice League Adventures. I think it was the first issue I worked on. They fought Starro. So yeah, the Flash is ripping off one of Starro's stars from Wonder Woman's face.
Okay.
Yeah, that looked all right. That didn't look too terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that again.
There's that one again.
Yeah. So that is, yeah. So before the Sword of Eden Shinobi graphic novel series, yeah, I self-published a couple of different comics. This is the second one I did, Nihilist Man and His Amazing Friends. So there was a time when Nemish Man was named Nihilist Man. Huge mistake on my part. So at that time, yeah, I collected all the different stories that Nemish Man had appeared in, and I collected it into one comic book. And most of those stories were stories I worked with other comic book creators on.
Yeah, I remember E-Man.
Yep. So Joe Staten and I did an E-Man Nemish Man story, which, you know, and I love Joe. Joe Staten is one of the nicest guys in comics. When I was teaching, he used to come by once a year and do a lecture. But yeah, I was a huge fan of E-Man and Joe Staten's work on Green Lantern, and I got to know Joe, and I was always wanted to do a story with him. So I came up with a plot where Nemish Man and E-Man would team up, and I inked it. Nick Cuddy had scripted all the E-Man and Novocaine dialogue in that story. And yeah, that was a lot of fun to work on. So that was one of the stories in this collection. And then there's a crossover with Lethargic Lad by Greg Hyland and Buzz Boy by John Gallagher. And the pencils for this was done by Fernando Ruiz, again, my favorite penciler. And then the coloring was done by Greg Hyland, again, who did Lethargic Lad. So yeah, it was just a way to collect all the Nemish Man stories into one comic book.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that was self-published by me and my buddies. Oh yeah, and it was a Archie and Friends splash page. Yeah, more Archie and Friends, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Archie. Yeah, Archie. Oh, this is a funny story. But Archie, yeah, for the longest time, they just kept doing hand lettering. Even when I was working at DC and Archie at the same time, all the DC pages were already, they were all lettered digitally. So, but the Archie stuff I was still getting was still hand lettered. So, yeah, I worked on Sabrina the Teenage Witch for a year and a half, 2 years maybe. And this panel here, the penciler Holly Golightly had penciled, I think, a teddy bear all the way to the left. And I called up Greg Hyland because I was a huge fan of Lethargic Lad. And I had asked Greg if it was okay for me to. And Greg was making these lethargic dollies, like these Lethargic Lad dolls. So I called up Greg and I'm like, hey, can I put a Lethargic Lad dolly in the Sabrina story? And he said, yeah, sure. So I erased the teddy bear and I just drew a Lethargic Lad doll there. And Lethargic Lad is all white. So I put a note in the margins outside the panel for the colorist to keep the Lethargic Lad white and don't color the doll. But they did. They colored the doll purple. So in the printed comic, yeah, the Lethargic Lad doll is not white, but was colored purple, despite my asking them not to do that. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun. Again, back when work made for hire was fun.
Okay. All right, let's see.
Oh yeah, some stuff I did for Sesame Street. Cookie Monster, some Dung Beetle.
Okay.
I had inked an issue of Sonic X, which was based on Sonic the Hedgehog for Archie Comics. So yeah, I think I only inked one of those issues on Sonic X. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Kind of manga style.
Uh-huh.
So that was fun. That was mostly a nib. I don't think I used much brush on that at all. I think that was mostly a pen. Okay. Oh, it's a page from Spider-Man Mysteries.
With all the bad guys.
Yeah, photos of all the bad guys there, yeah. Yeah, panel from either Justice League Unlimited or Justice League Adventures. Superman. I think he's saying I am Superman or something like that.
Gotta says with so many titles now having short story arcs, perfect to later printing to graphic novel form. Are your stories broken down into sections that could have been separate issues, miniseries?
Well, I think it varies. When I was working, it's hard to say because when I was working for DC, yeah, each issue, like on Justice League Adventures and Justice League Unlimited, they were complete stories, like in each comic book. But then, yeah, when I was working on Cartoon Network Block Party, they had 6-page stories. Like all the Archie stuff I did, mostly were 6-page stories. And then, for example, when I was working on Archie and Friends, there was a complete story in that 20-page comic book. But every once in a while, when DC Comics feels the need to pay me any royalties, I find out that they reprinted some of my work in collections. So I think, was it last year, they printed a collection of stories for a character called Steel. And it was a hardcover edition. Like, I don't know, it was a couple hundred pages. So they had a story in there that I had inked for Justice League Unlimited. So it depends, some stories I worked on, for these publishers were a full issue. Some were 6-page stories or 8-page stories. Sort of varied, but they collect this stuff. Most of the stuff that I've worked on has been reprinted. Raymond, can I hear you? Are you still there?
I'm here. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's all right. So, wow, this is kind of old. So this is a page from the first time I self-published a book, the ARG Chronicles 2000 edition, which came out in January of 2000. So that, yeah, that's a splash page in the book. So that was a comic that I self-published with a couple other college buddies of mine. So yeah, but that's all me. You know, it's pen and ink on paper, lettering done in Photoshop. Some of the black splatter on top there, that was, you know, you take a toothbrush, not that one that you would use when you brush your teeth, but another toothbrush, you know, put some ink on it and splatter ink. At the bottom, some of the splatters from using a different toothbrush with some Pro White or white paint, and you splatter paint on there. So that's how you get those splatter effects. So, yeah. Making comics is fun.
Because you get to do all sorts of different things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, inking with a toothbrush, yeah, that's fun. You know, so.
Okay. All right. I think on this note, unless there's any other questions, we're going to start wrapping it up. Okay. And we're going to go, let's see, any more questions? Nope. Looks like we got them. There is Pop Culture Breakdowns link, so be sure to do a pod raid. There it is. Do a pod raid. And let's go to show notes. Hello, Jill. How you doing?
Hello.
Hi, Anti-Derivative Jill. How you doing? Okay. All right. So let's go to show notes.
This episode is brought to you by thedolphinwars.com.
Oops. See, Gumby hit me again. Here's show notes.
It's time for show notes. It's time for show notes. Yeah, with Mr. Reagan and Sandra too. It's time for show notes. We're bringing it on. It's time for show notes. You've all been warned. It's time for show notes.
And Pudgy Hedgehog just came in. Hi, Pudgy. We've already asked the questions, so we know that he likes. We know that he likes chocolate chip cookies. And yes, Pudgy says it's time for show notes. All right. First off, let's do the Snortopoopas. Take care of a human, dolphin, doggo, Dalek, ferret, eagle, hedgehog, and black buck. TM, a wholly owned subsidiary of thedolphinwars.com. And let's see what the black buck is. Oh, that's pretty cool. Love those antlers. Courtesy of Snortopoopas. All right. Pudgy says, push the button. New Pudgy question. What is your spare tire size? Oh, man. Pudgy. I don't know if you know your spare tire size, do you, Al?
Well, my current car does not have a spare tire. It's got more of that foam that if you have a flat tire, you just spray the foam in the tire.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, I don't know if new cars come with new spare tires anymore.
No, they actually have the newfangled devices that blow air into it. Or
yeah. In the old days, you'd have the little mini tires.
Yeah. No, mine doesn't.
I just get that foam stuff. Yeah. But yeah, you get your tires changed every few years, and you should be fine.
Yeah. Or make sure you get the rotation done.
Yep. Every oil change, which I got to do soon.
Yeah. Problem with the cars nowadays is they suggest that you go with the oil life.
Yeah, I go every 5,000 miles. So. Although I talked to the guys who actually rotate my tires, and they were saying they go every 6,000 miles. So
yeah. Let's see.
oh wow, my car came with one donut.
Let's see. They used to put a full-size tire as a spare.
Back in the old days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Raymond had a donut spare. Snort got the munchies. My car came with one donut.
Well,
Glenrod says, I know my car has a spare, but I've never even looked at it yet. All right. I was actually looking for mine when I went into the trunk of my car, and I'm going, where is it? Where is it? And that's where I saw the little device. I said,
yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the last two cars I've had did not come with a spare or a donut.
Okay. Well, glad Lenrod, glad Anti-Derivative Jill, and glad Pudgy Hedgehog got here. Okay. All right. So, show notes. Let's see what's going on. Okay. This Saturday at a special time, 4:30, we will have Rob Wright come in on our special monthly theme show. We will talk about his Band of Brothers trip to Europe. That's going to be an interesting show. And then, of course, we'll segue into Just Cuz. So that will be on this coming Saturday the 9th. A week from today, we're going to have Dad Man Walking 55 and the Mrs. Dad Man doing an update on what they've been doing on their channels. On the oh God. This Saturday, Mr. Raymond reveals all. The debut of the banana yellow Speedo. No, you don't want to see me in a Speedo. Not as old as I am. Let's see. On the 20th will be Radio King Dolphin TV with the Not Ready for Pod Time players. Agent Pepsi 1, Anti-Derivative Jill, Max Redstone, possibly Comic Relief Crusader, and, of course, King Dolphin TV. We will read the next installment of All's Fair, a Dolphin Wars novel entitled Wounded Warriors. Be there. You will enjoy it. On the 27th, we will do our monthly Fantastic Four reviews, where I read another 2 installments of Fantastic Four from way back when, out of 44 years of the Fantastic Four. And on the 30th of this month, we will hit our 400th episode. 400 episodes of these things. It will be fun. It will be big. It will be huge. Huge. So that is everything coming up for August. I don't have anything for September yet, but so that is everything coming up for August. And let us thank everybody who has been here. And it would be the first time this show is fun. Yeah, right. Okay. Be there or be square. Okay. Trike. All right. So, hello, Wallace Lang. Welcome, sir. All right. Okay. Well, Trike is making his presence felt. All right. So let me thank everybody who has come to visit here. All right. We had where Pudgy is, Cobalt is. So welcome, Cobalt Bald Eagle. Thank you for being here. We had Pudgy Hedgehog. Thank you for being here, Pudgy. We had Swift -1. And Wallace Lang. Thank you all for being here. Please check out the replay if you weren't here to see it before. And also, please check out the review I made on First Steps. I posted the video today. Let's see. Now, the amazing lifeguard crew. We had our producer, Sandra. We had, as you heard, we had Trike, the amazing dog. We had Anti-Derivative Jill. Check out her channel. She's got a lot of good stuff going on there. We had FKHC 2005. We had Legatus Legionai. Lenrod came in and paid a visit. And he said, boof, boof. And we had Snortapupus Q Bar. And finally, the Comic Relief Crusader. Thank you all for being here. I had a great time, and I hope you all did too. Al, thank you for being here. As I said, I had a great time. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, so thanks for everybody for showing up, and stop by theswordofeden.com and check out the Sword of Eden graphic novels.
Okay, let me put that in. Okay. Damn, can't tell. The Sword.
Yeah, theswordofeden.com. Yeah, if you order any books from me, they will be signed. And you'll get some extra signed goodies in there as well, some prints while supplies last.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also if you have a local comic book store and you want to order the Sword of Eden graphic novel, ask them to order the book from filbodistribution.com.
Okay. Let's see. Jill says, "Wait, Trike is a mod or a producer?" He's the critic. He's the official dog critic, Jill. And there is where you can get the Dolphin Wars series of books and everything else. Dolphin Wars. All right. Okay. So that is it for tonight. Thank you again, Al. It was a pleasure.
It was fun. Raymond, thank you so much. It's always nice talking about me. No, seriously, no, thank you. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Moderates volume and produces fertilizer. All right, guys. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Don't forget to do a pod raid at Pop Culture Breakdown. And see you Saturday with Rob Wright. And you take care. And let's keep making some waves.
All right. God bless. Later.